It is Wednesday, March 17th. The juices are flowing because we are 1 day closer to the NCAA tournament starting on Thursday this year. Welcome into the Early Edge. I am the coach. We are powered, as always, by SportsLine, coming off a rough night. And we have those once in a while. Not very often, thank goodness. But for some reason, the gambling gods know that it's Bounce Back Wednesday. And we're going to get right back on it today. Since it's Wednesday, I got to tell you, if you want to play against us, some of the greatest analysts and cappers in the world, go to our YouTube page right now. You're probably watching it. There is a link in there. You can play the CBS Bracket Challenge against everybody from the Early Edge, from the First Cut, from the Pick Six. Everybody's playing. So you can play against us. We want you to be a part of it right now. So let's bring in our cappers. You know the names. You know the faces right below me. We got a full show, so I got to get to it quick. M Squared, good morning.
Good morning, Coach. Yeah, you know it's Wednesday when Chief is here, fired up, ready to get some golf advice from Rick. College basketball's back. We gave out that pick yesterday. Already got 1.5 points more of line movement for us. Ready to go today.
We knew that was going to happen. If people didn't get Toledo in yesterday, it's on you. You speak of golf? How about Rick Run Good on Twitter? Rick G, good morning.
Good morning, Coach. Yeah, PGA National, final leg of the Florida swing, ready to rock and roll.
Oh, he's still feeling that glow from the Justin Thomas hit last week. And then, of course, he's our rock. He's our leader. He's the Maestro. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Coach. Very frustrating ending to the Jazz-Celtics game. Terrific game last night, but I'm just psyched that we've got full NBA and we've got college hoops basically every day now moving forward.
Let's get to it. A quick programming note, by the way, if you haven't watched it already today, there is a Kicking It with Tom episode of the Early Edge Champions League action on Paramount Plus. 2 games today, and then on Thursday and Friday, we're going to be doing 2 episodes of the Early Edge each day, or Friday, Saturday, rather, I should say. So we got it covered for you from top to bottom. But let's jump into our storylines that could affect the betting lines today. M Squared, what do you got for us?
All right, we got the Brooklyn Nets at the Indiana Pacers. Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin, both still out for this game. Jeremy Lamb, questionable for the Pacers side. For the Sacramento Kings, Hassan Whiteside, questionable once again. That should pave the way for Rashawn Holmes to have another big game. The Toronto Raptors on the road against the Detroit Pistons. Van Fleet and OG Anunoby are both still out. However, Pascal Siakam and Patrick McCaw could potentially be able to return tonight. For the Boston Celtics against the Cleveland Cavaliers are on the second night of a back-to-back. Kemba Walker and Tristan Thompson are both doubtful to play in that game. Houston Rockets, John Wall, Victor Oladipo out. They might welcome Christian Wood back. Christian Wood, Daniel House, both questionable. That's something to monitor this afternoon. For the San Antonio Spurs, we know LaMarcus Aldridge is still out. DeMar DeRozan will also miss tonight's game against the Chicago Bulls. And then for the Denver Nuggets, Monty Morris, RJ Hampton, Gary Harris, all 3 out. That's going to leave them thin on the perimeter against the Charlotte Hornets tonight.
I cannot emphasize enough how important it is for all of you at home to pay attention to who's playing. Don't tweet us at 7:45 and say, Coach, DeMar DeRozan isn't playing and I bet on the Spurs. Pay attention to M Squared. All right, we go from the absolute best field in golf last week at the Players' Championship to the Honda Classic. Still not quite sure why they don't get a better field. It's a great golf course. It's in a great part of the country. But Rick G, give us a little preview of what people can expect this week at the Honda Classic.
Yeah, I'll tell you why they don't get a great field. The scheduling spot, and also this is a very hard course. The pros don't like to be made fools out there, and PGA National has a habit of doing that, especially when the wind kicks up as we're expecting it to do this week. This is a course that has water lurking everywhere. We're still in Florida. There is a 3-hole stretch called the Bear Trap from 15, 16, and 17. That is one of the most difficult 3-hole stretches on the PGA Tour. This course was the 3rd most difficult on the tour schedule last season. I mean, this is a tough one. So if those winds continue to stay up, you're going to want to look for some grinders, maybe the Euro guys who prefer the wind a bit more, or at least have more experience playing in the wind than some of their American counterparts. This is going to be an opportunity for potential carnage out there, Coach.
Yeah, it's really weird because only 4 of the top 25 in the World Golf Rankings are playing, and the top 6 ranked players are all from outside of the United States. Very interesting. Okay, let's jump right in. I got to tell you, because everybody's asking us about winning a year-long subscription to SportsLine, because you get all the cappers, you get all the analysis, you get all the simulations. It pays, and we're doing it again this week. Go over to Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. In that review, tell us who you think is going to win the national championship this year. Then on Monday, we'll pick 5 winners. Also leave your Twitter handle. so we can get a hold of you. 5 year-long subscriptions we'll give away this coming Monday. All right, it's time to give out our picks for the day. We're going to start with our SportsLine plays of the day. That's right, we've got 2 for you. We're going to go to the NBA, the Bucks -6 over the Sixers from Kyle Akins. Now, this is a 7 Eastern tip. Kyle is 4-1 in his last 5 NBA against the spread picks. The Sixers played last night. Hard-fought game against the Knicks. They had to go right down to the wire. The Bucks did not take them laying the 6. No Joel Embiid for the near future. Then our second game, we're going to stay in hoops, but we're going to go to college now. St. Mary's -2 over Western Kentucky. The NIT starts tonight. Matt Severance has been all over college basketball this year. Take his advice. Lay the 2 with St. Mary's. They're very slow, but they are effective. Okay, it's time for my Cappers picks, and you know where we start. M squared, you know the drill. Give it to me.
All right, Coach, we're going to start in the NBA with the Chicago Bulls. I like them -1 against the San Antonio Spurs. Now, this is a spot we would normally look to maybe fade or certainly stay away from a Bulls team on the second night of a back-to-back. However, the Spurs team is really dealing with a lot right now with LaMarcus Aldridge basically stepping away from the team, and you've got DeMar DeRozan out in this game. And then for the Bulls, Markkanen's back, Wendell Carter Jr. is back, Thad Young is playing well, Tomas Satoransky is playing a lot of minutes now, and I think they're a much better team when he is in control there. So I like the Bulls here. I make them -3.8 in the simulations. It's sitting at -1 to -1.5 right now. I expect it to close -2, -2.5 later this afternoon, so I would get that one in as early as you can. And then in terms of PGA, I like Taylor Gooch top 10 +350, +400, depending on where you're shopping. You can get that in there. I like it a lot here. As Rick mentioned, and you guys mentioned at the top of the show, the win equity increases significantly for a guy like Gooch in this field, as this field is not loaded at all. If he can navigate that bear trap like Rick was talking about, I think he has serious win equity, but I clearly make him a top 10 player in this field, and that kind of shows you how weak this field is relative to some of the fields we've seen in the past this season.
Well, to back you up, he was a top 10 last week at the Players' Championship. Played very, very well at TPC Sawgrass, and we expect him to do it again this week. All right, staying with the golf theme, Rick G, you're up.
Yeah, this weak field might be getting a little bit weaker. More on that in just a second. Let's start with a couple of 3 balls here. I'm going to go with Brandon Wu +200 over Dylan Fratelli and Matt Wallace. Brandon Wu has been on fire recently. Now, he splits his time between the Korn Ferry Tour and the PGA Tour, which the line between those 2 tours is more blurred than it has ever been. We've seen Brandon Wu have success on the Korn Ferry, and in his last start, it was the Puerto Rico Open up here on the big tour, finished 7th in that event. And then I'm going with Sung Jae Im +125 over Russell Henley and Lee Westwood. I think we're chasing Lee Westwood points. We're chasing bets on Lee Westwood at this point. Probably unrealistic for him to continue this pace that he's on. And Sung Jae Im has been dominant in Florida during his young career. He's the defending champion of this event, and he's laying the foundation for another good week. Now, if you want to stop your betting card there, I understand. I would endorse it. But if you need an outright, there's a couple of interesting options. I had Daniel Berger listed at +1100, 11-1. He is dealing with a rib injury. It's the same rib injury he had last week en route to his top 10 at the Players' Championship, but he had an MRI on Monday. He withdrew from the Pro-Am on Wednesday. I'm getting a bit more growing concern about what we have with Daniel Berger. And if he does withdraw, that is going to create a lot of win equity that has to be spread around here. So I would probably go back to Sung Jae Im, but listen, coach, if I was going to place an outright on Daniel Berger, it would be much smaller than usual. And I would understand that I'm taking on probably a lot more risk than usual.
If you do not watch the First Cut podcast and you are very new to the Early Edge, I got to tell you, and I got to give some props to our man, Rick G. He knows what he's talking about. Last week on the First Cut, he gave Justin Thomas as the win for the Players' Championship. Then on Saturday, backed that up with more information and bet on Justin Thomas when he was 7 back. He came all the way back to win. This man knows his golf. So listen, if you're going to bet on the winner, take that bet down just a little bit, not a full-size bet. All right, it's that time of the show. We bring in the star. We like to call him the Maestro.
All right, Coach, I'm going to start in the NBA, and this line has dropped. Celtics, because of what Mike said with Kemba being doubtful, it's down to 8.5. Lay the 8.5 against Cleveland. Both teams played last night. They played earlier this season. It was 141 to 103. Boston cannot beat the top teams. They've proven that now 0-8 against the top 5, but they can hammer a team like Cleveland that has lost all 3 games since the All-Star break by at least 15 points. So I like Boston to bounce back tonight. And then I got 2 props for you. One, James Harden. They raised his rebounds. It was 8.5. Now it's 9.5, but you can get plus 115 at William Hill right now, over 9.5. He's had 5 straight games with 10 or more rebounds, including 15 last time. He didn't play last night. He's averaging over 40 minutes a game. I think it'll be a competitive game in Indiana. So I like him to get to the 10 mark again. And then Jimmy Butler. He traveled to Memphis, even though he's dealing with a little bit of an ankle. If he plays, and I'm assuming that he's going to play, he's gone over. He's had at least 27 points in 7 straight. His number is 23.5 tonight. Go over on Jimmy Butler.
I love that James Harden pick. He has been so motivated and playing such good basketball. I think the change from Houston to Brooklyn has been great for him more than anybody. Okay, we're up against it. Grab your paper, grab your pencil. Thank you, Greg. Here is our recap today. M squared, he's on the Bulls -1 over the Spurs. Zach LaVine playing like an absolute all-star. Lay the 1. Taylor Gooch at the Honda Classic, top 10 last week at the Players. We're going back to the well again, top 10, plus 350. Then Rick G, speaking of golf, he likes Brandon Woo over Fratelli and Wallace in a 3-way. You're getting that at plus 200. And then Sanjay M, plus 125 in a 3-way. It's a good way for those of you who are new to golf betting. If you want to bring the odds down just a little bit, go to a 3-way instead of a head-to-head over Russell Henley and over Lee Westwood, who admitted after his round on Sunday that his legs were losing it. And he played Augusta National on Monday and walked that hilly course as well. And then in an outright, bring your bet down. If you decide to do this, Daniel Berger, or maybe sprinkle a little on the defending champion, Sanjay M. Then the Maestro. He likes the Celtics. Hard-fought game last night. They lose to the Jazz, laying the 9, 8.5, whatever it is, over the Cavs, who can't beat anybody right now. Then James Harden playing an all-around game, over 9.5 rebounds. We catched this 3-4 days ago in the third quarter. Plus 115, and then Jimmy Butler over 23.5 points. He has scored at least 23 points in 7 straight games. And then our SportsLine plays of the day, Bucks -6 over the Sixers, and St. Mary's in the NIT -2 over Western Kentucky. I'm not a math major, but that's a lot of picks for one show. You've got your marching orders. Oh, I get excited on Wednesday. Let's take all these tickets straight to that pay window over there. Or guess what? We might have 2 right over there. For M squared, for Rick Run Good, Rick G, for the Maestro, for Chief, for Greg, don't call me Gary, our producer on Wednesdays. I am the coach. Remember, this is the only place for your daily early edge. Good luck.